Welcome. This is week 3 of the micro course, and this week we are covering an important chapter. The chapter is supply and demand, is the famous supply demand, and it's important because a lot of the stuff that happens in the world, it's based on this idea and how demand and supply and their interactions affect prices, and prices determine our decisions. So, you talk about inflation, you talk about when we see price changes of an item, then we change our behavior. And so this model explains why the price changes, what effects they are, and what the interactions are. So it's an important chapter. So this week, you go to do the same thing. So I'll show you what to do with Blackboard and then what's due this week. And then there'll be the slides, the chapter reading and stuff like that. So when you go to the course site, you will go to coursework, and then again you scroll down to week 3, and you will see here that week 3 there are a few things here. What we do supply demand and efficiency and stuff like that, and then what's due for you is graded. So you have again the connect assignments, and then you have another discussion board post. So you click here and you will find a few things that are important. The assignments are here. I'll talk about that in a minute. But first, we'll look here at videos and readings. Readings are important, and videos. Videos are videos that explain to you the material. They're made from another person, another instructor, is not part of Connect or is not made by me, but I think they're very well done, so you should watch them. They'll help you understand supply demand. Then here you have the PowerPoints for the slides for the chapter, and the assignments I'll talk in a minute. And then here you have, 3 documents. One is about gas prices and volatility. That's just to give you an idea how supply demand works, an application of that, right? So you look at the volatility of prices, what happens, is that supply, is that demand, is that because more people want to drive and then the price goes up, is that because there's more gas being produced, and so if you need to sell more gas, you need to lower the prices. All this interaction of supply demand is a good explanation. Then there are 2 documents. This one called SD, stands for supply demand. This one called W3 week 3 supply demand exercise. This is important because it's more mathy, and it will help you when you do one of the assignments in the future. They will ask you to actually solve a problem similar to this. So you want to keep those in mind and you want to use them. All right. So the first one is this one here, the supply demand examples. The one is called SD. And what you find here is how you do a supply demand analysis. So after you read the chapter and you understand what supply demand is, you will use this for your discussion board. Here is an example of price of tequila going up. There's an article here about price of tequila. And this explains how you do the analysis. You look at what happens, the supply, the demand, and then you get to find a new equilibrium. You will see at the end that there is something happened for tequila. There was an original price, then something happened, and if you read the article, you will see that the demand went up, increased, the meaning more people wanted to buy tequila. That's taste and preferences. Then there was a problem with the production of tequila, the fungus that killed some of the plants that used to make tequila. So there's a decrease in supply. The 2 forces together bring up the price of tequila. And so that explains why when this article was written, it was a long time ago, but it's still the idea applies. At the time, there was a spike in the price of tequila, and that explains why. So for your discussion board, and I'll show you what that is in a minute, you will have to do something similar. You have to find an article of your own that discusses supply demand, and you need to use this framework here to explain what happens. In the article, you have to find a product that had a price change. It could be the price going up or going down, and the article should explain why that happened. Okay, so you want to explain that, but you want to incorporate the graphical analysis because it's very helpful. Once you see how that really helps you understand what happens, it's really important to understand how that works, right? If you're not telling you this in every course because it's just a lines that move, but really it's helpful to understand graphically, and so you should work through that. And then there is a problem. The problem is kind of a bit more advanced, but it's not really that advanced. It's basic algebra, the method it uses. But the idea, is this supply and demand analysis is based on real numbers, right? Real data. So there is preference of people of how much people want to consume of a certain product depending on the price, and that shows by the demand. And then there is a relationship between the price and how much producers want to make. If the price goes up, everything else staying the same, so I can sell my thing for more and it doesn't cost me any more to make it. I'll make more because I can make more money. If the price goes down, I'll make less because now the signal is do something else. Okay, and so these are basically equations. So when you see in your in the graph supply demand, they are based on some equations that can be measured. You can go out and check how much people consume of something, right? And so you will have two equations here that are given to you, and then you can you write the equation for the supply, for the demand, and then you can solve it. You find the equilibrium, and you can go through it. But graphically, it will look like this. There is a supply, there is an initial demand, an initial price, and then in this case, you'll have an increase in demand. More people want of something, and so what happens if more people want of something? There will be an increase in price usually. Think about if you have a store, you see more people wanting your product, you're very likely to increase the price of it, right? And what the consequences are. So keep these two documents in mind because they are very important to understand supply demand, and it'll make more sense after you read the chapter. Okay, so after you do this, you go back here again, watch the videos before because they help you explain, read the chapter before, and then you want to watch the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is very well done. It shows you exactly, starting from the beginning here, what the demand is, right? What it measures. For example, in this example here, you can see that if the price of pizza is $4, you will sell 8 pizza. If the price goes down to 2, you will sell 16. Right? It's pretty obvious. If the price goes up, people will consume less, and opposite, if the price goes down. And then the same thing happens but reverse to supply. As the price goes up, everything else remaining the same. My signal is make more, make more. And so this very carefully explains how you put the two together, supply and demand, and what happens if there is too much of something, too little of something, surpluses or shortages, and now that affects the price, right? So that's the main idea, and how this thing changes is all these slides you can see here with changes. That's basically similar to the one of the problem. You have a supply, you have a demand. Here is an increase in demand, will drive up the price of the thing here in case it's apartments. Okay, so you read the chapter, and after you read the chapter and watch the videos, you should be ready to analyze the supply demand model for your discussion board. So going back here to Blackboard, what you see here is assignments. So when you go to assignments for week 3, here is all the connect assignments. You simply click on them, do them. Just for them, it shouldn't take super long, but first you really need to read the chapter because this is an important one. And then you can go on the supply demand board. Now, I don't understand why it doesn't show anything here, but anyway, if you create a thread, it tells you what to do. And what you do is the following. You find an article that discusses a price change of an item, whatever the item you want it to be, it doesn't matter as long as a price change. Use your interest. If you like sports, you can find the price of the changing price of tickets for a game, for example, for sports. Or if you, or maybe why players are playing more. If you like fashion, what happens to the price of things, whatever you like, there's a million things, prices change all the time. And remember, we are not talking about overall inflation. We are talking about price of specific items. So the change has to be caused at the micro level. Like people want more, people want less. Or say there is a, or maybe, you know, think about agriculture. You like certain food and you say, why did the price of this specific food went up? Maybe there was the same thing as tequila. Maybe there was a hurricane or something destroyed a lot of the production. So now you have people still wanting it, less available because a storm or a illness or something, some plant problems, some production problems decrease the amount produced. So what happens if more people want and less is available? Producers will sell it for more because they can, and the end of the will, right? And so you want to explain that. So again, you have to use the templates that I give you and then work through the example sample problem. This is important. Remember, you can explain things in many different ways. So when you talk about the supply demand, you can explain it with words. like I did. You can explain it with tables. You will see there are tables. So if the price is 1, quantity demanded is 10. If the price is 2, quantity is 8. You can write a table. But the table is just a representation of a function. A function is basically a formula, right? It tells me if the price is this, what would be the quantity demanded? You can write the formula like in the Word document, the PDF that I showed you with the problem. And you can do this with a graph. So you can actually graph the curves and you can see the changes graphically. They are all explaining the same thing, just in 4 different ways. Remember, you can do it in words, you can do it with little tables, you can do it with equations, you can do it with graphs. They are all the same points. It tells you the same information, but really, if you are either an economist or in business, you want also to be able to understand the number side, because the number side is more precise in telling you, say you own a company and you want to decide how much to price something. If you can raise the price of something, what will happen to your revenues, your profits? You need to know the numbers. Like, it's not just, oh, people want more, let's raise the price. That's all nice and good, but how much? You actually need numbers. You need to know how many more people will buy or less people will buy if you change the price. Okay, so this is the main idea. Very cool chapter, foundational chapter of economics. They always say supply demand, supply demand. It's a famous joke. If you teach a parrot to say supply demand, you get an economist. That's because the answer to a lot of things is supply demand. And remember, the answer to a lot of things is opportunity cost. This supply demand works model because of opportunity cost, right? Now, if the price of something goes up, I'm a producer, now I can sell it more, so the opportunity cost of not making more increases, and so I'll switch from one production of one thing to another. That explains, in short, the supply. Okay, so this is the idea here. Now, if you have any questions, email me. Again, remember, every Sunday there's something due, discussion board or assignment wise. So this week you have the supply demand discussion board. Make sure to complete it. And again, if you have any questions, email me and I will see you next week. Thank you.